Story time on how I found my 70-year-old father and my 27-year-old best friend of 14 years. Now, she's a girl, by the way. She's a girl. It's not a guy. Okay.
Imagine discovering that the two people you trusted the most, your father, the man you've looked up to your whole life, and your best friend of over a decade, someone who's practically family, have been carrying on something you never saw coming. That is exactly what happened in this jaw-dropping story, where a 27-year-old woman walks in on her 70-year-old father and her best friend of 14 years in a compromising situation, setting off a chain reaction of confrontation, excuses, and emotional devastation. Today, we're going to unpack it all, starting with a full summary of the story, and then breaking down each part to really understand how it escalated, why it struck such a nerve, and what lessons we can take from this chaotic situation. Alright, let's get into part one of the story. The narrator sets the stage by explaining her relationship with her best friend. They've been inseparable for 14 years. This friend, who she describes as a stud, has been so close to the family that people often assumed they were a couple. In fact, she spends so much time at the house that the family even jokes about it. On top of that, the narrator's mom is handicapped, so her best friend being around all the time was never out of the ordinary.
Me being the best friend, okay? Me and my best friends have been best friends for 14 years. I've said it like 50, 11 times. So, people have hard times. My best friend has, been without a place to stay, not one time, not two times, but three times. But the first two times, the first time she did something. The second time she did something crazy again. But I don't want my best friend, homeless. So, but she can't stay with me. So I asked my parents, hey, can Tamara stay with y'all?
Now, here's where things start to shift. The dad, who's 70 years old, had been relying on this best friend to drive him to and from work. Why? Because he didn't want to pay for Uber or Lyft, and since the friend was out of work, it seemed like a win-win. She'd get some money, and he'd get a ride. Totally harmless on the surface, right? But everything changes one night. The narrator was supposed to work a double shift, so nobody expected her home early. After picking up food for her mom, she pulls into the driveway and notices her best friend's car parked there. Again, nothing unusual. She heads inside, and what does she see? Her 70-year-old father and her best friend in the living room in the middle of a sexual act. And here's what's wild. Instead of exploding on the spot, the narrator describes herself as a really calm person. She says she simply asked, "What are y'all doing?" Meanwhile, her best friend tried to brush it off, and her dad claimed nothing was happening, but the narrator is in shock. Her hand is literally shaking. She's trying to process the fact that two of the most important people in her life are doing this under her roof, with her mom right there in the house. She even goes to feed her mom first before circling back, because she can't even deal with the confrontation yet.
So, I walk in the door, and I look to the left, and there they are. My daddy giving my best friend head. So I'm baffled. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, if y'all know me, I'm real calm. I'm the calmest person you'll ever know, you'll ever meet. So I'm calm. Like, what are y'all doing? And she like, oh, there goes Tamaya. Did you want me to see this shit? So I keep walking because I do have my mama food in my hand. My mama ain't ate all day. It's 8 o'clock at night. So I take my mama her food in her in her room. Like I said, my mama is handicapped. So they got the door closed. So I take up her food. My mama is trying to talk to me, like, how's your day, and things like that. And I can't talk right now because I'm still baffled. My hands is shaking. I'm confused. So I give her food. She's trying to talk, and I literally cannot talk to my mama. So, I give her food. I walk back out. Now, there was a whole, probably not even 30-second interaction. So I walk back to the living room. My best friend is gone.
Eventually, her best friend bolts out of the house, leaving the dad alone, sitting awkwardly on the couch. The narrator tries pressing her father for the truth, but he doubles down, repeating nothing happened, still in disbelief.
And my daddy is in there standing bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, because he's scared shit, because I saw them. So I asked my daddy, I'm like, Daddy, what were y'all doing? He like, nothing. Now, if you know me, my daddy is my everything. I'm a daddy's girl. Like, I've been for life. My daddy has been in my life all my life. I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy can do no wrong in my eyes. What I thought. So I asked him again. I'm like, Daddy, I'm finna pop you on your shit. What were y'all doing?
She steps outside to cool off and immediately calls her brother, her safe space, telling him everything. From there, her emotions start to boil over. She's furious, she's confused, and she's ready to confront her best friend. This sets the stage for the chaos that unfolds in the next part of the story. Now moving on, and this is where the drama really hits another level. So after the initial shock at home, the narrator shifts her focus to her best friend. She's furious and determined to confront her. She tries calling, but the friend ignores her calls, so she starts tracking her through location sharing. Eventually, she finds out her best friend is at her favorite gas station, the one she always goes to near her apartment. The narrator pulls up, and the confrontation begins. She asks her best friend point blank, "This is how you're going to end our 14-year friendship? By messing with my dad." And instead of denying it, her best friend tries to flip the narrative. She claims the dad was the one who came on to her, and that she felt uncomfortable. But the narrator isn't buying it. She points out the obvious. If her best friend truly felt uncomfortable, why didn't she just leave? She's left the house plenty of times during arguments before, so why not walk out this time? Now, here's another twist. The best friend was drunk. The narrator realizes this during their argument, and it makes the situation even messier. Despite being fueled with anger, the narrator restrains herself from physically fighting because, as she says, she has too much to lose.
Partner, we yelling at each other trying to get, she trying to get her point across. She was like, he came on to me and he made me feel uncomfortable. I said, why you ain't leave, Tamara? Of course I'm not this calm, but I'm like, why you ain't leave? I was feeling uncomfortable. The door was right there. Then she goes to say, now my best friend does have social anxiety. Okay, she has it to the max, right? Which makes no sense of her saying this. So she like, oh, I got social anxiety. I'm like, Tamara, what the did that have to do with anything? Now, I do genuinely want to hear her, but I have too much to lose. If you know me, I got a lot to lose.
Her job, her responsibilities, her reputation. Meanwhile, she feels her best friend has nothing to lose. So instead of throwing hands, the two of them just argue, loudly in public. Eventually, they drive to a nearby park to continue the confrontation away from prying eyes. And the argument there reveals even more. The best friend doubles down, saying the dad came on to her and that she was too uncomfortable to stop it. She even brings up her social anxiety as part of the reason she froze up in the situation. But the narrator calls that out too because to her, that doesn't add up. If you've been around the family for 14 years, if you're practically part of the household, and you claim you've always felt uneasy around the dad, why keep coming around? Why stay close? Why accept rides, food, and even a place to stay from the very same people you now claim made you uncomfortable? By the end of part 2, the narrator makes a clear decision. This friendship is done. 14 years of loyalty, gone in an instant. And the sting is even worse because her best friend wasn't just someone she hung out with. She was someone she sheltered, fed, and considered family.
So my emotions start to sit in because it's like my daddy fucking up my best friend, two of the people that means dear life to me. Like, these people mean so much to me. And y'all fucking. Now, I sit at the end of my mom's bed and I just sit with my back towards her and I start to cry. Like, I don't want her to see my tears fall because she still don't know what the is going on.
Now, by the time we get to part 6, the best friend finally tries to defend herself more directly, but the problem is...
So, put a finger down. If your best friend of 13, 14 plus years walked in on her daddy and your type shit, right? Alright, cool. So, I don't normally do this shit at all. I'm doing this because she did it. So, pretty much she walked in on her daddy giving me head type shit. And as my best friend of 13, 14 years, you supposed to know. I've been told you a long time ago that I've always been uncomfortable around men, period. And I've been told her I was uncomfortable around her daddy type shit.
Her story keeps changing. At first, she claimed she told the narrator multiple times that she felt uncomfortable around the dad. But when pressed for details, she couldn't remember a single specific day or situation where she said this. Suddenly, those multiple times shrink down to just one vague memory. And to the narrator, that sounded like nothing but excuses. It gets even worse when the narrator reminds us that just weeks before this blow-up, the best friend was still celebrating family events, like her dad's birthday on July 1st, smiling in every everyone's face while secretly betraying her. That's what cuts the deepest. Not just the act itself, but the idea that her best friend was playing along like everything was fine, all while crossing the ultimate boundary behind closed doors.
So, yeah. So she like, Tamaya, please tell me what's going on. Please tell me what's going on. And I'm coming to shake my head because I don't want to be the one to tell my mama that I just saw my daddy and my best friend, the girl that she treats like a daughter, fucking. So somehow, some way, like I said, my daddy is still on the phone with my brother. He been on the phone with my brother for like 30 minutes. My dad and my brother been cursing him out, talking shit to him for a whole 30 minutes, the whole time while I was gone. So my brother somehow, like I said, he's 500 miles away, convinced my daddy to come tell my mama what was going on. So my daddy come in the room. He was like, yeah, I fucked up. She gave me head. That's not what I saw when I walked in. It was the other way around. Now, like I said, my best friend has been my best friend for 14 years. I know my best friend. I know when she's really active too. Like we best friends. Me knowing my best friend's not finna get nobody head. A nigga head, first of all. Okay? If she is fucking nigga, she not gonna give him head on the first time they doing it. She not gonna give him the first time they doing it. So mind you, if she gave you head, you done gave her head.
Then comes the alcohol excuse. The best friend claims she was drunk, that the dad kept feeding her drinks, and that things just happened. But the narrator isn't buying that either. She points out that her best friend has smoked and drank around the family plenty of times before, and being under the influence never stopped her from making clear choices. In her eyes, alcohol doesn't erase loyalty, morals, or common sense. The narrator also raises a huge question. If her best friend truly felt so uncomfortable around her father, why did she continue to hang around for over a year? Why did she keep showing up at family events, sleeping over, and even living in the same house at times? That inconsistency makes the betrayal sting even more. By the end of part 6, the narrator doesn't hold back.
Make it make sense. We making this all make sense. But you're not.
Funny as fuck to me, I ain't gonna lie. But
And that's the funny part. That's the part that you find that shit funny. This shit is funny to you. This is my life. This is my life. You did shit to me. My daddy did that to me and still doing shit.
the fact that you trying to make everybody believe that we was, first of all, I'm 27, this nigga's 70. I call him pops type shit.
Even fucking worse. Even worse. You call this man your pops. I'm trying to make it seem like y'all. It's oral sex, not a form of f***ing. Is that not a form of sex? Oral sex is not a form of sex. Huh.
She flat out calls both her father and her best friend sick and selfish. To her, there's no excuse that can justify what happened. Not alcohol, not social anxiety, not pressure. She makes it clear that the friendship is done forever, and her view of her dad is permanently damaged. And before I wrap up completely, I want to touch on something a lot of people are saying about this story online. The word grooming. Think about it. This is a 70-year-old man and a 27-year-old woman who has been around his family since she was a teenager. For over a decade, she was welcomed into the home, treated like a daughter, and trusted to be part of their daily lives. Some people are pointing out that if the dad had been laying the groundwork all those years, building comfort, normalizing closeness, and waiting until an opportunity presented itself, that starts to look a lot like grooming behavior. And honestly, when you look at the power imbalance, her being vulnerable, needing rides, needing money, even a place to stay at times, versus him being the father figure with authority and control, the dynamic gets very disturbing. And that's where this story leaves us, with a daughter who's lost trust in her father, a friendship of 14 years destroyed, and a family dynamic that may never recover. At the heart of it, this isn't just drama. It's a raw example of how betrayal can come from the people you'd least expect, and how excuses never undo the damage once trust is broken. Whether it was loneliness, bad judgment, or just plain selfishness, both the father and the best friend made choices that changed everything. But here's the real question. What would you do if you walked in on something like this? Could you forgive your father? Would you ever speak to that best friend again? Or would you cut both ties for good?
So yeah, that's basically the end of the story. My dad, he's trying to talk to me. We literally have nothing to talk about. He asked me the other day when I was talking to my mama, how long you gonna stay mad at me? What the fuck do you mean? How long am I supposed to stay mad at you? We have nothing to talk about. You literally, you done did the worst of the worst. You coulda went to go get with a prostitute on the mall. Y'all coulda went and got a room. Y'all coulda fucked in her car. Y'all decide to fuck in the living room with my mama in the house and her door is closed.